All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Jermall Charlo was recently on Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson kind of looked at Jermall Charlo crazy for saying that Benavidez doesn't bring to the table, and he's not interested in this fight. So, we're gonna dive deep into this. I'm gonna break it down for y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. Please sure that you like and subscribe to the channel to get all your latest boxing news. With that being said, Jermall Charlo was recently on Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. And he recently was talking about certain fights. Why Mike Tyson asking about why he won't fight the Mexican monster within David Benavidez, and Jermall Charlo stated that David Benavidez doesn't bring anything to the table or stuff like that. So I'm gonna go down Jermall Charlo's resume because Jermall Charlo only fought two world champions in his entire career. So what does Macy Selecki bring to the table more than David Benavidez? David Benavidez has lost his title, but he has never lost his title in the ring. He lost it one of them because of recreational use of drug use, and he lost it from missing weight during a pandemic that we didn't even know about, and he have time to train. So David Benavidez is a former champion. He has proven that he is a world champion material, and so I ain't got nothing against David Benavidez. I feel like David Benavidez needs to prove himself a little bit more, but we're going to continue. What does Jawan Montiel bring to the table, right? What does Sergey Derevyanchenko bring to the table? None of these guys he fought was world champions. What does Dennis Hogan bring to the table? What does Brandon Adams bring to the table? So the list goes on and on, The only two former world champions he really fought was, I believe, Austin Trout and Julian Williams. And what did Hugo Centio Jr. bring to the table? So Jermall Charlo basically has fought nobody on his resume, but you want a Canelo Alvarez fight? And Canelo Alvarez came out weeks ago and just laughed at the situation. This dude fighting Selecki? Of course not. Dude, you haven't fought nobody. And Canelo Alvarez told Demetrius Andre the same situation. Who has you fought? What have you done? That's why Canelo Alvarez was stoked that Demetrius Andre, you need to get out of here or it's going to be a problem. And we all know that people feel like that Demetrius Andre, Canelo is running from Demetrius Andre and stuff like that. Well, deep down, in my opinion, I think Canelo Alvarez is going to fight all these guys. And Canelo Alvarez wants these guys to fight each other. And whoever's the winner come on top will get the Canelo Alvarez fight. So Jermall Charlo states that he's not a 168-pounder. Well, you're not going to get any more big names at 160 pounds. You could fight a Chris Eubank Jr. That's a simple name. You could fight Jaime Munguia, who pulled out of the fight due to the negotiation of broadcasting rights. Is obviously stupid on why they couldn't get a deal done right there. That's idiotic. And I don't know who Jermall Charlo really going to fight at the 160 division. He's got a lot of names at 168 because what's going to happen when Jermall Charlo moves up in weight to 160 pounds and Errol Spence talk about coming up to 154. So it doesn't matter at the same scenario, but according to Derek James, who was interviewed on Blue Blood Sports TV, he's not certain that if Jermall Charlo is going to move to 160 pounds and stuff like that. And Jermall Charlo also stated this as well, that David Benavidez doesn't even deserve a shot to fight Jermall Charlo, my brother, because he feel like David Benavidez is a cruiserweight. Now, he didn't knock him and say he was bad. He says he's a great fighter, but I feel like he should go up and towards the cruiserweight range and he could beat those guys up there. That's tougher competition. Well, first of all, it sounds like Jermall Charlo is making excuses for Jermall Charlo because Jermall Charlo was not eager to fight David Benavidez because David Benavidez was pressing the action. And what's so sad was that when David Benavidez was relentlessly calling Jermall Charlo out, David Benavidez says, look, since you don't want to come up here, I'm going to come down to 160 pounds. Now, we know that he can't come down to 160 pounds because his frame won't allow him to. Now, he can make the weight, but he's going to lose a lot of power and it won't be as healthy. Anybody can make a certain weight. It's all about how you diet to yourself and how you monitor yourself on water intake and all this other stuff. But Jermall Charlo says that David Benavidez doesn't bring to the table. And Mike Tyson has tried to give Jermall Charlo pointers on how to get the Canelo Alvarez fight, but that's not going to help because Jermall Charlo, what does Jermall Charlo bring to the table? Canelo Alvarez is not coming back down in weight. Jermall Charlo brings absolutely nothing to the table for Canelo Alvarez. I mean, look at his resume. What does Maki Selecki bring to the table? What does Jawan Maciel bring to the table? What does Sergey Derevyanchenko bring to the table? What does Dennis Hogan bring to the table? What does Brandon Adams bring to the table? And what does Hugo Santiago Jr. bring to the table? You know, I can go on and on about these people that Jermall Charlo fight. He hasn't fought really anybody that we know in particular. If you go towards the end of his career, towards the middle of his career and towards the upper career, his resume is basically like Gervonta Tank Davis. You know, he's got some good names on his resume, but you can arguably say that he almost have a similar resume to Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis, the only difference is he hasn't got a big name. I will say, well, Gervonta Tank Davis does have a few good names on his resume, but you could arguably say that Jermall Charlo has the same resume as Gervonta Tank Davis. The only difference is Jermall Charlo is fighting mixed more races. Gervonta Tank Davis is fighting nothing but Mexican fighters and stuff like that. So I don't understand Jermall Charlo on why he isn't want to fight Benavidez, because I believe Benavidez does bring some value to the table. He was a former champion. He is an undefeated fighter. He's young and he's hungry and he's willing to fight the best of the best. But I got to bring this up as well. David Benavidez trainer Simpson was not crazy about fighting Demetrius Andrade because he felt like that Demetrius Andrade, he doesn't bring nothing to the table and all he does do is want to win. Well, first of all, why are you in boxing in the first place? Boxing is all about winning the fight, you know? And David Benavidez is on record saying, I will fight Demetrius Andrade. It's these promoters and stuff like that that gets in the way. And I want to bring this up as well. Jermall Charlo says that, well, back in y'all time, it was easy enough to make fights because y'all didn't have the promoters and managers involved like that. First of all, Mike Tyson had to have his promoters and managers in order to get the fights that Mike Tyson was getting. So what are you talking about that the fights was easier back then? No, it was not. Fights was not easier back then, but the fights got done back then. It didn't take a long time like it takes today. We're in the social media era that you could get a fight done right now. It's all about negotiation, purse splits, and what you bring to the table and who's doing the numbers and stuff like that. So I don't understand why these guys devaluing certain type of fighters like a Jermall Charlo. Look, Jermall Charlo, you're not a special type of fighter. Yeah, you got some boxing skill, I give you that. You're undefeated, I give you that. But you ain't got no names on your resume. You need to fight somebody. And your brother's trying to take up for you, make you look like more of a coward. And you wanted no smoke of David Benavidez. I'm just going to keep it 100% real. I think personally Jermall Charlo can beat Benavidez. But if he's ain't eager to move up to 168 and says, I'm not 168 pounder, I'm 160 pounder, but you're behind the scenes saying that if I move up to 168 pounders, I'm going to be more of a deadly fighter. So don't open your mouth on certain things if you're not truly meant what you say. David Benavidez, look, whatever comes out his mouth, he wants it done. It doesn't matter on what the scenario is. If y'all got to go through long negotiations, get the fight done. Fight the best of the best to stain your legacy. Canelo Alvarez may not be fighting the guys we want him to fight, but Canelo Alvarez is fighting the best of the world champions right now that he's going after. And I think Canelo Alvarez, it will give these guys a shot if they stop focusing on him and focus on fighting each other to build your name up and build that status. And maybe Canelo Alvarez like, look, since this guy, everybody wants me to fight this guy, he beat all these tough guys down at 168, I'll come back down and fight him. So, with that being said, guys, it looks like Jermall Charlo saying that Benavidez brings zero value to the table for a fight. And Mike Tyson, at the end of the day, just shake his head about the whole situation on trying to give Jermall Charlo, see what he can do to get these big fights to happen. If you guys haven't checked the interview on Hotbox with Mike Tyson, please go check it out. Y'all don't want to miss it. With that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.